Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite sports icons and athletes. I'm Boom Gonzalez. And in tonight's game plan, we'll break down the biggest games in UAAP basketball and its implications in the Final Four.
We'll also talk about the crucial wins of the Cignal HD Spikers and the Petro Gazz Angels in the semifinals of the PBL Reinforced Conference. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Well, the action is just getting even hotter in the UAAP after a series of upsets shook up the already complicated standings. Now, joining us to talk about the games over the weekend is UAAP analyst Coach Willie Wilson. Coach, welcome.
Speaking of hot,
oh my
coming
goodness.
in hot.
Oh my goodness,
Thank
Coach.
you guys for having me.
No.
Yeah, well, I know. We're kind of shook.
Yep.
A little unexpected things happening in the last play date.
Can I just say?
We'll get through it though.
Yeah, we will. Unexpected for everyone except for our friend Jello Vito, by the way.
Mr. Hot Takes, yeah.
We'll talk about the first one, talking about Adamson defeating NU. You take a look at that game, you take a look at Jerome Lastimosa in particular. You know, what was just so special apart from that final shot?
Well, before we go into the outcome, I just want to say I'm sorry to Adamson for predicting that they would lose that game. Obviously, I was basing it on the standings.
Yeah.
You know, I was basing it on the standings, so I apologize for that. But hats off to Coach Nash and his boys, and especially Lastimosa for knocking down that shot.
Yeah.
Big shot.
Well, they almost lost the game. So, I know you're apologizing, Coach, but you're also doing your job. And, that's all part of the fun of the UAP. That's why it's been great, because it's been unpredictable. But, okay, Jerome Lastimosa wasn't only hot in that game, he was hot the game before, warming up to that game. And then he missed the last two shots before he made that three-point shot. But there are others who contributed to that Adamson win, Coach Willie.
Well, I want to focus on Linda Duwanga. Before we came on, I told you that he went into his bag, meaning he did things that were very, very uncharacteristic of him and things that you don't really see in the scouting report, namely Euro steps, attacking the basket from the three-point line, knocking down three-point shots, and just, really just typifying this game that Adamson played with their backs against the wall, knowing that they need to win, as Coach Nash said. They're trying to stay alive.
And trying to stay alive, they are for sure. In fact, right now, they look very good, at least going into that race for the Final Four. Talking about NU first before we move on to the next matchup. Of course, NU failing to hold the twice-to-beat advantage. Any cause for concerns because they're not necessarily ending the elimination round in the type of form and rhythm that they want to?
Well, there's always concern going into the Final Four with a twice-to-beat disadvantage. Okay, now they lost Kian Baclaan the previous game against LaSalle in the second quarter, getting ejected. They didn't have him in that game, and that's huge. That's your starting point guard. So that's the guy that sets the tone. Your coach on the floor, and they didn't have him. Steve Nash Enriquez had to step up, and he did. But obviously, it wasn't enough to get that win. There's always going to be concern, but you get Kian Baclaan back, stepping into this Final Four, and hopefully they get to pick up where they left off.
But they're also, and I want you to answer us this question, Coach. It's not just that game. They've struggled as of late. And, you guys always talk about peaking at the right time, peaking during the Final Four. If you're an NU fan whom you thought twice to beat na to, and then now you see the struggles, and we will revisit that phrase again a little later on in this conversation, does that concern you? Especially that you don't have the twice-to-beat advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely a concern. I mean, guys need to step up, and we know the type of game that NU wants to play. They want to drag you in the mud with them.
Right.
They want to make it a defensive battle. So the big concern is what is going wrong on the defensive end.
Yeah.
What are they not doing? What are they not gelling together with? In what aspect? But for me, what I'm gonna bank on is Coach Jeff Napa turning it around, getting the guys in order. We know he's a special coach. He's a great defensive mind, and he knows how to reach his players, and he knows how to give those guys confidence.
And we don't know their matchups yet.
Yeah, we don't know the
Right,
matchups
exactly.
yet. And one of the reasons why we don't know the matchups yet is because of this next one we're going to talk about. UE, the already eliminated UE, taking down a DLSU team that was desperate for a win in overtime. We saw a lot of what happened there. Remogoat did a lot against LaSalle. How worried are you for LaSalle, and of course, how much of a missed opportunity was this for the DLSU Green Archers?
Well, I'm very, very, very worried for LaSalle. Again, they're going into this last game versus UST, but their destiny is not in their hands. They have to hope that they win, and they have to hope for a loss from Adamson versus Ateneo. And you never want to go into a game like that. They play before Ateneo plays Adamson. So,
Yeah.
They're definitely going to be staying late. They're going to be watching.
They're going to be wearing blue.
They're going to be watching the next game. But, this happened also in the first round.
Yeah.
They beat Ateneo. They get so high off of that win that they're still floating coming into their next game, which, ironically was also UE
yeah.
in that first round.
What a way to bow out of season 85 for UE and Ray Remogat, as you guys mentioned. For 2 straight games,
Yes.
came up in the second half, came up big, hindi isa, 2 straight games, so that was huge. So hats off to UE. We've always thought UE was going to be, a tricky team this year because of the talent level. They had some games that they just couldn't hold on to. So now they bow out. They're not part of the Final Four picture, which brings us to the ones who are in the Final Four picture. We don't know who's number 1 or number
Yes.
2 yet between Adamson and UP. UP has lost 2 of the last 3 games. Ateneo, not Adamson, big win for them. They halt a 2-game losing streak to UP. What did that win do for the Ateneans?
Oh, that's a confidence booster. I talked to Coach John Jacinto. He's on their coaching staff, and I was like, you know what? Facing adversity and coming out on top, meaning getting those close wins, that just gives you so much confidence. So in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, this is a close game. We're gonna lose it. Now you flip it. This is a close game. We've won before.
Been here before.
We've beaten a big team in UP. That's confidence. That's confidence amongst the players, knowing that I can count on you. You can count on me. I know what to expect from you. You know what to expect from me. They carry that going into this next game versus Adamson, and I know they want to win. They're not taking this as, okay, we have the twice to beat advantage. This is a no-bearing game. No, they want to carry that momentum.
Maybe they want to be number 1.
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? They want to carry that momentum into the Final Four.
They're on a 5-game winning streak. It's the longest active streak right now in the UAP. And in 2 of those wins, Pao, they came back 19 points against FU and 1 against UE in overtime. They were down.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, finished strong 7-0 to win that game.
Yeah, not only do Ateneo want to beat Adamson, I want them to beat Adamson.
Yeah,
because,
I'm sure.
Yeah, go Ateneo, I always say. But oh my heart. But for UP, obviously not the greatest times for them. 2 losses in their last 3 games. Not the best run of form you want to have going to the Final Four. Confidence issues, do you think they're going to have it going into the crucial stage of the season?
Well, let's flip the script. Like exactly what I said about Ateneo. Having that confidence, that knowing that, hey, we can win these tight ball games in the end game. We can buckle down. With UP, maybe their confidence is shaken. I went into this season, no Richie Rivero.
Yeah.
And I always said that he's your closer. Whether the field goal percentage is good or not, he's your closer.
Yeah.
You know that we can go to Richie. He's going to take the big shot. He's tough, mentally, physically. Now, from the wing, you don't really have that. Yeah, JD made the big shot, but the play after play, we can go to this guy. You only have Carl. 0 points for Xavier Lucero.
0 of 11.
Zero of 11.
Although Carl Tamayo came up big in the fourth quarter.
Yes, Carl Tamayo came up big, but I always, me being a coach, you can double team a post guy. When they're attacking from the perimeter, a la Kobe Bryant and those big time players, those are so much harder to double team.
Yeah, it's always going to be tough, and of course, let's see whether or not UP can get things right at the Final Four stage.
Wednesday is going to be good.
Wednesday is going to be really good. As you saw the standings right there, Coach Willie, thank you very much for joining us here today. Can't wait to see how everything pans out, and we're going to find out whether or not Jello Vito's all his takes are all right. So far, so good for Jello, Mr. Hot Takes, and of course, go Ateneo 1 big fight. And that will do it for us with Coach Willie Wilson, because after the break, we'll find out more about FEU's Cholo Año and his student-athlete must-haves on and off the court. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Game. Ever wonder what's your fave UAAP Season 85 basketball stars top essentials? Well, watch as FEU Tamarao's Cholo Año breaks down his game day must-haves. Get an inside look on everything that he needs to survive as a student athlete and how you can get the same items on Lazada.
Hey everyone, it's Cholo Año from FEU Tamaraos, and I'm here to show you my top essentials. Let's go! My first essential is my laptop. I play games a lot during my free time, and of course I do my online class using it, and I've been using it during the pandemic to help me use with my online class, doing my research and assignments. I like playing games during my free time, and I connect with my friends back home in Ireland, and it's always fun to play with them because it's just a relaxing time. My second essential is pods. I use this when I want to be alone or when I want to have my me time, and I use it before games as well just to get in my zone, listen to the music that gets me hyped or get my mind right. I have 5 different playlists to listen to. I have R&B, I have one to listen before my game, and I have some old school classics there like Mariah Carey, Michael Jackson, and a lot of Chris Brown. Of course, being an athlete, you have to have shoes. I use these, the Honest Freak 4s, my recent game and in practice. I like how it fits my feet and how it helps me move on the court. My next essential is my cell phone. It's because this is a way I can connect with my family back in Ireland, to video call them, and it's always fun to connect with them to updates and of course to tell them how my day went. Of course, I have a picture up here with my girlfriend in the back. I use my phone to shop as well in Lazada to get equipment in the dorm to help me with my everyday life. I've been using this for a while now, and you can too by downloading it the App Store or the Play Store. My final essential is very important to me is the Bible. I got this as a birthday gift from Coach Eric before the pandemic. We always have Bible studies like every Sunday after practice when I was in the juniors division. He always guided me and showed me the way to follow Jesus, and he always helped me during when I was at my lowest when I had my injury. These are my essentials, and you can get yours on the Lazada app. Add to cart now.
And that was FEU's Cholo Ananuevo. After the break, we'll find out what's at stake in the final stretch of the PVL Reinforced Conference semifinals. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back. You're watching The Game. The exciting action continues for the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference Semis. The Petro Gazz Angels bounced back with a win over the Cherry Tigo Crossovers on Sunday, taking them down in straight sets. Meanwhile, the Cignal HD Spikers are a step closer to the finals after upsetting the Creamline Cool Smashers. I'll talk about all of these teams and what's at stake for them as we bring in volleyball analyst Neil Flores. Neil, thank you very much for being on the show.
Happy to be back here in the studio.
In the studio.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So Neil, I like that game between Cignal and Creamline. It had so much drama, extended sets. A lot of it was really close.
Great crowd.
Great crowd as well. And what do you make of it? Because really, there was just so much to go through with regards to even the tactical thinking and the stars of the show.
It was a huge win by the Cignal HD Spikers. Definitely, they trailed by a far margin in the first set. They almost erased that lead, but they ended up losing that set. But they came back stronger in the next 3 frames. And for Creamline, we know that they're the #1 team coming into the semifinals. They had an impressive record in the preliminaries, 7-1, only lost to F2 Logistics. But as I say, when you get to the semifinals, all of these win-loss cards are out of the window. It's about playing the best game every time you go up against these opponents because you only go up against them once.
Yeah.
And Cignal didn't win against Creamline nung preliminaries, and I felt like there were just a lot of errors on the side of Creamline. They produced 33, I think, in a 4-set match against Cignal, and they had a very difficult time getting over the net defense put up by Doria and Meneses. I mean, Yellow Basa had a hard time getting her hits in. They had a lot of kill blocks against the reinforcement of Creamline, and I think that she's not 100%. I mean, she's nursing a shoulder injury, so medyo inaalalayan. But again, it was a great game from the Cignal HD Spikers. Tiberia coming off the bench.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. I had 2 thoughts in that first set. One, you know, at Creamline, when they established the big lead, I was thinking, oh, this is Creamline is like, you know, stepping on the gas pedal and just telling everybody we're going straight to the finals. But yung habol nila, and we've talked about this so many times in the broadcast. Pag humabol ka, nadadala mo yun sa mga susunod na set. So I thought that was important for Cignal to catch up. The Tiberia strategy as of late, how has that worked for Cignal? Not only against Creamline, but just in general. And what can you say about her also? Her personal game has really come up also.
So from a third-party perspective, you would think that it's kind of an unusual strategy for Coach Jack De Los Santos to put the reinforcement off the bench. And I feel like it has worked for Cignal because Tiberia is I think the youngest 24, reinforcement at 24 years old. So ang ginagawa ni Coach Jack, he actually wants Tiberia to observe first kung ano yung mangyayari in the first few sequences, and when she comes in, that's the time that they step on that gas pedal, and she has been very reliable, one of the underrated reinforcements as well, not as explosive as Priscilla Rivera, Lindsay Stalzer, or Yellow Basa, but she had 21 markers, and coming off the bench from the past few games, ganun yung laging napoproduce niya.
Correct,
And we have been talking about teams peaking at the right time. Now, individuals are also peaking at the right time for the Cignal HD Spikers, and I feel like this is the semifinals that they have been waiting for.
Wanting to have. The last 2 conferences na medyo minamalas sila, you're right.
Lagi silang nabibitin, but now they're in the best position to make it to that gold medal match. If they lose their next game, yes, we might have that 3-way tie, but at least may chance na sila. I mean, they just need to get 1 more to finally secure that first seat in the finals.
Well, let's see what's gonna happen then. But taking a look at Creamline, normally when they bounce back in a very, how do I say this? Almost violent fashion in the way that they bounce back from losses. How can they bounce back from this one, especially because the time frame is going to be so short and the stakes are going to be really high in their next game?
It's going to be crucial for Creamline. Again, we're always surprised when their backs are against the wall kasi sanay tayo na dominant yung Creamline in the past few conferences. So every time they're in that position na pwedeng maputol yung Grand Slam run nila, that's the time they actually perform well. I don't know, maybe coming from losses, they always work twice as hard And they will be facing Cheritigo, still
Right.
winless in the semifinals, but still deadly.
Yeah.
Okay, Petrogas won over Cheritigo. That's a big win, and they made it look easy, you know?
Yeah.
3-set sweep. Can you talk about that? At idikit mo na rin dyan, Neil, yung Petrogas Cignal matchup.
Well, for Petrogas, they had 3 players in double digits. You had Lindsay Vanderwaay, they always consistent. You also had Myla Pablo chipping in the numbers. 15 points, I think,
Finally, ano?
for Myla Pablo. And coming into that game against Cignal, they pushed Cignal to a 5-setter. They lost that game, and as always, itong reinforcement ng Petrogas, she's always looking forward to face the teams that won
Nakatalo.
against them.
Yeah.
And one of the interviews nga sinabi niya, we know that Cignal is an all-around team. They have all the tools, offense-wise, defense-wise, but they have to actually remember how they beat Cignal in those sets, and they have to replicate that performance.
Yeah.
Kasi magandang laban yun. I mean, it's
Tomorrow,
going to be
yeah.
the first game, but that can also be a marquee match.
For sure.
For the
Both
reinforced
of them
partners.
are
Both of
marquee
them.
matches.
Yeah, and when you look at Cheritigo, obviously not the semifinals round that they wanted, but then I don't think you can overlook what they can bring in terms of shock factor because there's been a lot of shockers here in the PVL so far.
Sobrang dami. And parang nabaliktad. I think that they're in that position dun sa nangyari sa Cignal in
Cignal.
the past
Yeah.
few conferences.
Lakas
Had
ng
a
preliminary.
stellar start.
Right,
But
right.
it would be very difficult for Cheritigo to compete in the semifinals without their reinforcement. I mean, Sivievich only scored a single point. It was
Correct.
off a kill block. And if you don't have your reinforcement in the game, of course, may upper hand na agad yung mga opponents. But again, shock factor will be there. Din Santiago Manabat also chipping in crucial numbers. She was the second top scorer next to Mylene Paat. But Mylene was the only one in double digits.
Exactly.
Scored 10 points. Definitely not enough. So coming into that game against Creamline, they really need their reinforcements to come in and provide the points.
You guys always say in the reinforced conference, a lot is on the shoulders of the reinforcement. So when the reinforcement doesn't deliver, medyo mabigat yung chances at Cheritigo. But you never know. Creamline's confidence, we don't know where it is tomorrow. That's why it's going to be very interesting. Neil, maraming salamat. As always, I'll see you tomorrow. And you guys, of course, can catch the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference semifinals tomorrow live on One Sports, One Sports Plus, Cignal Play, and Smart Tiga Play. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm Boom Gonzalez.
And I'm Paulo Del Rosario. This has been The Game.